and welcome to Fireside Paranormal Podcast. My name is Jordan Cline, and I have a fun show planned for today. But first, I'd like to tell you about two exciting events. One of them is going to be in Moundsville, West Virginia. It is called the Misfits Metaphysical and Oddity Show. It's going to be December 4th. Starting at 4 p.m., going all the way to 11 p.m. It's going to be an evening show. What to expect while you're there. Entry is $10 a ticket. Kids 7 under get in free. This is a family-friendly event, and tickets are only available at the door. Hollering from the hills of West Virginia, the Misfits Metaphysical and Oddity Show is coming to share everything creepy, dark, and dead. This event will be held at the most haunted place in all of West Virginia, the Moundsville State Penitentiary. This location was built in 1886 and housed some of the country's most violent criminals. Right before Christmas, this event is going to be home to buy anything you need for your witchy friend, odd cousin, and little something creepy for your mom and dad. To make sure everyone avoids scams, all ticket sales will be at the front door the day of the event only. You cannot buy tickets online or from anyone else. For vendors, they are still looking for vendors. Go ahead and contact them directly from their Facebook page. Again, that's Misfits Metaphysical and Oddity Show. The next event is the Hidden Marietta Paranormal Exposition. In the ballroom of the haunted and historic Lafayette Hotel, we will gather together all those who delight in the supernatural. From hands-on activities to speakers teaching you the secrets of haunted objects and locations, they have a unique array of creepy creative merchandise and a lot of things to experience and learn. There will be tours of the Lafayette also available. Advance tickets are $12 per person. Tickets at the door are $15 per person. And this event is coming January 29th, 2022. And that is going to be an earlier show. It's going to be 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, both of these events I plan on being at. I'm going to have a little table set up, probably bring a microphone and invite folks to come and tell their stories. So definitely come out and see us. Mark your calendars. All right, I want to get to our guests today. Come sit with me by the fire as we welcome Steve and Katie Hultay. They are the leaders in ITC Research. They've built over 150 ghost boxes. Steve is a student of Frank Sumption, who makes Frank's boxes. He's also like the largest collector. They've been seen on the Discovery Channel show, Mystery Hunters. Steve's co-creator of Joe's Ghost Box. He's the first person to use a ghost box hacked radio, and he also makes those. And he is the inventor of the first reverse speech ghost box and creator of Live Ghost Box Experiment app. Hey guys, are you with us?
We are.
We are here.
Steve and Katie, that's a big resume y'all got there.
Yeah, it's the app. Actually, I started doing the live stream back in the day, but she actually put it in app form because she does the computer section of it. But we'll get into that.
Yeah. First off, what is ITC Research?
It's basically instrumental transcommunication is what the term is for that. And what it is we're finding different ways on how to speak to whatever we're trying to speak to. I can't say ghosts because I don't know for a fact if we're speaking to ghosts. I can't say aliens. Don't know if we're talking to aliens. Something. We're asking questions through devices, and they are answering us, and that's pretty much as far as really anybody could say about the situation so far.
Now, I've heard so many mixed messages about these like spirit boxes, the ghost boxes, that it's using words already there, and our brains are making it up. How do these things work? Like, what is it we're really pulling through? Like when they talk with you, how does that work?
The way it basically works, everybody uses the radio sweep method differently.
Uh-huh.
Me personally, the way I've always done it is I really focus on when I build a box, I want it to be fast enough where you're not catching full radio words, and that's kind of why I did the reverse speech is because I don't want people to say, hey, you're just picking up radio words. Well, if I'm doing it really fast, they're using fragments of sound to make words. So that's good. And then the reverse is just another step forward, because how can I say who's here and the answer is Charlie or whatever the answer I get, and it's backwards speech, almost like playing a record backwards. So that can't really happen either. So I'm just trying to different ways to debunk ourselves, actually.
Yeah, really. You're like trying to debunk your own science.
Yeah, and I think
or
that's
reduce false positives.
Yeah,
Oh.
reduce false positives is a good, perfect way to say that.
Now, when you're getting these boxes together, we're creating them and doing it, do you think it's the almost like the white noise of the machine itself, of the scanning of the tuner? Is it that's pulling the voices through? I feel like it's like that old movie White Noise that would use that.
Believe it or not, I know that was a popular movie. I'd never seen it. Have you seen it, Katie?
I saw part of it on the way coming from Iowa to New Jersey recently.
Yeah, I've never even
like
seen
at
it.
a hotel. Like I watched maybe like 40 minutes of it.
But to answer your question, in my opinion, I believe that they're using a little bit of everything. I think the white noise is important. Because there's different methods that you could use using white noise and get traditional EVP or direct radio voice. They call it DRV. You can get voices that way as well. But when the ghost box sweeps, I believe they're using radio fragments and also the in-between white noise. It's like a combination, and it's like a perfect storm to pull voices through.
And tuners are different too.
Yeah, every radio is different.
They have their own style.
Now, are there different types then?
There are, several different types of. I mean, it depends on what radio model. What I've done over the years, and what we continue to do here, both of us, is we buy different radios and we steal the tuners out of the radios, or modify that radio to begin. Just to modify it, and I add my sweep circuit to that radio. But every radio is made by different companies, so they all sound different when you sweep them.
Okay. And just to give you guys a little bit of a preface with me, I have never used one, and I don't know much about them. So this is all new. So when I ask questions, I'm not trying to, pull anything out of you. I really genuinely, I have no clue.
You know what? I have never used an SV7. I got into the ghost box world with a ghost box snob. And I've never used an SB7. I've heard them on videos and stuff, and to me, I don't think I would enjoy using one.
And for those out there that don't know, the SB7, it's probably the most commonly bought ghost box, since you're not a ghost box guy and not used one. It's the most easily obtainable ghost box. You get it on Amazon. You get it at Walmart. I think I've seen it on the Walmart. So it's probably like $75, $80, somewhere around there.
It's a good starter.
It's a good starter box, yeah. But what we make is a little more advanced. We're looking for more clarity to make the audio cleaner. It's good. You got to start somewhere, and SP7 is a good starter box for people if they want to get involved in the field.
Now, at first, I was going to ask you what you felt about the apps out there, because there are some ghost box apps out there, but you also create one, so you obviously like them. How are they different than like a radio sweep?
Oh, well, I was going to say we no longer have any apps on like Google Play or the iOS store. We removed them. However, we do have one streaming radio at ghostboxlive.com.
It's a freebie, so
yeah, and I believe that one is a 12-150 Radio Shack.
Correct.
And it has partial reverse and partial forward speech. So it's a mixture, and it was like a new circuit so it's an online thing that we provide.
You basically go to the website, ghostboxlive.com, and then hit the play button, and you'll hear it live from our house here, and it broadcasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week upstairs.
But the reason why we ended creating apps is because we really wanted to focus on developing and experimenting with new hardware.
Okay.
I think a lot of the current apps, at least last time I checked, many of them, at least on the Google Play Store, are kind of like a boilerplate system, like where they kind of reuse the same system, maybe different graphics and different audio.
So they're all.
It really depends on who makes it,
and how much time they're involved with it. But most of them, it's sad to say, that most of them are cookie cutters. There's like, if you type in Ghost Box app on one of the Google Play or the Apple Store, what's they call it, the Apple Store? Is that
The App Store.
App
Yeah.
Store, whatever it is,
Yeah.
through iPhone? I mean, you type that in and you get like so many, and they're all so very similar. Yeah. So I mean, we wanted to kind of separate ourselves from that.
Well, my question with those, and this is where my brain, I don't know if it's the skeptic in me or what, as far as like you have to program those to make noise. Who's to say somebody's not just programming some words in there in their algorithm and, oh my gosh, it said purple, something like that. Must be looking at something purple.
There was one app that I looked inside of. This is years ago. I actually haven't looked at any apps in like a couple of years. Basically because it was too infuriating for me, and it was time consuming, and nobody liked hearing what I had to say about it. So I wasn't very well received. But there was one particular app that I noticed online, like going through the YouTube videos, that people that use this app, they kept getting a little girl named Lily. And if they had the knowledge to be able to look inside how the app was made, they could see these pre-recorded MP3 files, and within there's a little girl's voice that says Lily.
So everybody was getting the same thing.
And that to me is disheartening, because it's not like it's minuscule chopped up files, like where it's just, an eighth of a second or
it almost seems like trickery,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Well, or maybe just, maybe the person that made it didn't know enough, wasn't, well versed.
And we find that a lot, out there when people are using these devices. A lot, like I said, everybody uses them differently. Some people like a slower sweep, which I do not like. Some people like really fast, like me. But there's a blend across the way, and you can't. There's so many people using these devices now. You can't say, "Hey, that stinks. Don't use it. Hey, this is good. Use this." You can't be like the be all, end all, and boss people around, tell people what to do. They're going to do what they want. So, that's variety is the spice of life.
Yeah, I think my advice though would be to get your ear acclimated to a faster sweep, because therefore you can feel assured that you're not making up a story to a radio commercial.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, saying double mint gum.
If you ask, can I get your name, and you have it on a really slow sweep in radio, there is like almost 100% chance you're going to get a name right after you say, can I get a name? You're going to get one. That doesn't make it paranormal.
Yeah, and another mistake I think that I've seen happen is, it's early in the morning and somebody turns on the ghost box and they say, "Good morning."
You're like, it's my ghost box. Say good morning to me. This is going to be a good day.
Yeah, or something that's ask about COVID, and that's why
current topics, stuff like that.
That's why reverse speech, I think, is
very important.
Yeah.
Now, doing this method, how long have you guys been doing this, like, fast sweep reverse speech method?
I've always done it. I started in 2007 with the ghost boxes. That was the first ghost box I ever had. And yeah, I've always done it fast, because I started with manual sweep. Those people out there listening, a manual sweep is basically you could use a ghost box. You could use any radio as a ghost box if it has a good dial on it. You could actually manually ask a question, then manually sweep it as fast or slow as you want it, and you don't need to buy an expensive piece of equipment. You could just use what you have. If you're kind of interested and you're up on the fence about it, you could actually take any radio that you have in your house that has a dial on it, maybe an older radio, and you just ask a question and start doing it. And then if you hear some answers, then you might want to move forward and get something a little bit better that's automated. So it's all about choices.
That's good advice too. And I have a question, and it's kind of sitting with me. And before, you talked about how you have a radio in your house that's just playing and you have it live streamed, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What's the website to that again, so folks can see it?
It's ghostboxlive.com.
Ghostboxlive.com. Here's my question. If it's playing in your house, is it your ghosty pulling through, or is it for the people who's playing?
Well, this is a great question, actually. The way when I used to talk to Frank Sumption before he passed away in 2014, we used to talk about putting something live out there. And our theory behind it was, will the people get what we are getting here at the house? Just like you said, are they pulling ghosts from our house through it? Or if you're on the other side of the world, are you going to get something that pertains to you in your own language? And what we found out, we called it the Ghost Box Experiment, live Ghost Box Experiment with our app. And what we found out, people all over the world were getting relevant messages in their own language, all over the world.
We also found, too, that certain people seem to be able to get extremely relevant messages come through, almost to the point. Well, there was one guy, and he, loved us, loved our app and everything, and he would send us videos, almost daily. But it got to the point where he was getting I was shocked at some of the responses he was getting, that we were accused of, putting a camera in the app,
right.
And you can check permissions. There was no microphone, there was no camera enabled, it was just, but so that makes me think that maybe
that would be so much work.
Exactly.
It definitely would.
It defeats the whole purpose. But he ended up not liking us because he just I think maybe it was just too much for the mind to handle. I don't know, but but it makes me think that maybe the operator plays a pretty significant part in the process.
Okay, so for those of you listening, I did pull up the website because you knew I was gonna. I want to play a little bit of it just to see kind of what it sounds like. So for those of you that are out there that are like, what the heck are they even talking about? Because I'm sure we have some. This is what it sounds like. Very creepy stuff.
And what you're listening to is we have a reverse speech that we a board that we hooked up to the radio, and it's actually got an adjustment. You can actually go all full forward, or you can go completely reverse. We got it right in the middle, so you're kind of getting a blend of forward and reverse at the same time, which is exciting to me because over the years I've realized. And what's your background with like ghosts and stuff? You do like traditional EVP stuff like that? You've done that, right?
Yeah.
So what I found that over the years is if you ask a question, sometimes you get a partial answer, and then you could reverse that, and it actually finishes the sentence. So like forward is the first half of it, and then you reverse it, and then you get the second half of the message. That's what made me say, man, I wonder if there's something to this reverse.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's some great thinking.
It is, and that's why when we set it to the blend, hopefully live, you'll be able to hear the forward and reverse all in one shot when you're asking your questions all over the world. That's the goal anyway.
Now you make your own boxes. All right, how did you get into that?
Yeah. I started doing, when I started using the Ghost Box, I started, I had my first box was Frank's box. There was no hacked radios back when I started. The first box I actually had is I worked with a man named Joe Ciappi, and the Frank's box was already out there, but you couldn't get one. They were rarer than hen's teeth, so you couldn't get one. So I didn't know Frank at the time, and I just kind of put a blanket statement out there on one of the groups. I said, if anybody knows anything about this Frank's box and wants to help me build one and, collaborate on something, I would really love it. And a guy named Joe, he messaged me back, and he says, I'm actually starting to work on one now. It's funny you mentioned it. He lived in Pennsylvania. Uh-huh. And so what I did was we got together every weekend. I would drive to his house about a little over an hour to get there from New Jersey. And I would go there every Sunday, and we would just discuss, sit at the kitchen table. Here's what I want to hear. Here's what Frank did. And he says, well, here's what I'm working on. And we would just hash stuff out. We would exchange books because we were reading paranormal books on different things. There's a lot of great books out there. Mark Macy and Spiricom, George Meek, all these people in the past that have made good pieces of equipment that I was intrigued with, and so was he. So we finally got our product out there, and Frank heard it, and he said to me, hey, I like what you're doing, that you're the first person to ever come out with a ghost box besides me. Would you like to have one of mine too? I said, sure.
How about
that?
So
he sent me one of his. I got that in August of 2007, and I started using that. I didn't start building my first ghost box. My first ghost box was in 2010 because, it took me a few years to pick Frank's brain, and I talked to my mentor, guy I used to talk to, Rich Georgina. He used to send me stuff, and he was messing around with the ghost box stuff, and he would send me stuff because I didn't know much about electronics at the time, and he would send me stuff that was basically unfinished. Frank did the same thing, and that's how I learned about electronics, because I said, it looks like wires are falling off. I don't know how to use a soldering iron.
That's a great teacher.
Right, and they did that they did it on purpose because they wanted me to learn. So, and that's how I started. And my first box I built was in 2010.
See, in reality, though, Frank was like, ugh, I'm tired of working on this. If he wants it, he can figure the rest out. Just mail it.
It was mostly done, but yeah, he would leave stuff out, and I would have to figure it out. But that's good because it's fun for them because they want me to learn, and it's fun for me because I want to learn. I mean, it wasn't all that fun at the beginning because I didn't really know what I was doing. But you learn as you go, and then, hopefully I'll learn more down the line. But I'm only 10 years in on building. But Katie's basically taken over now with more of the difficult stuff, that's coding on the computer and programming, all that stuff. So that's a completely different area, than I work with.
Katie works on the programming side. You work on the box itself. So how many boxes have y'all made?
Oh, I've never.
I'm well above. I'm between 150 and 200 myself, and she's. I'd say probably 30, 40, probably, right?
Oh, but just put it at the
just boxes in general.
Just the Orion.
Yeah.
I'm at 25.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean.
And that's not even counting radio.
And. Yeah, and the stuff, like I said, that she's building, the Orion is what she mentioned. It's a phonetic device. So we moved away from radio. I'm mostly radio, and she's doing phonetic devices.
Well,
it's not based on radio anymore.
Yeah, if you're in an area where you get zero reception, and although it's weird, some people prefer not to have any reception. I don't get that. That's not how I use the ghost box. But if you're in let's say you're, in a tunnel or something like that, and, a phonetic device may prove useful. It's experimental.
Yeah, if you're in a cave or something,
right.
where you don't get a radio signal. So obviously the ghost box isn't going to work if you have no signal. So that's why we went to phonetic devices.
Now, what is a phonetic device?
Phonetic device is, first of all, I love phonetics. A phonetic device is basically parts of speech. So you have think of like a syllable, or, and the technical term would be like phoneme or allophone. And it's basically parts of speech.
It's the building blocks.
Yeah.
That make up the human,
English
speech.
Language.
The English language. That's probably any language, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, for us, it would be English.
So it's just sounds, but when you jumble all the sounds together randomly,
you have
you can get answers.
You have the IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet, and then you have the on the Phoenix device that I've yet to release. I'm still perfecting it. It uses a phonetic alphabet called ARPABET. And I believe NASA used it. I could be wrong on that.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so you have, all these different sounds that are parts of words. So you can't really get a whole word. And my take on it is to use analog-based randomness, because one thing that I encountered as, somebody that's doing coding and working with microcontrollers is they are by design deterministic. And so I could, write a program, and if I don't employ the correct type of randomness, you're going to hear the same thing over and over. And how can a spirit really manipulate or
work with that.
if they are even able to? I mean, we don't even really know if they are, manipulating the stuff, but I'm hoping that they are. I mean, I've had a few captures where it sounds promising, but so basically I think employing the analog-based randomness combined with the microcontroller for the phonetics is what I've been focusing on.
Right, just trying to push things in all different directions is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Now, you've made all these boxes. What do you do with them?
Some hold up my wobbly chair legs. Some hold the window open. No, actually, I mean, we sell them. Early on, I must have given away about 30 or so, to people out there that are doing, all the ghost hunting shows and stuff like that. I would give equipment to them. We still do sometimes. We give equipment out there. I've been doing this for years, but in hopes that they'll use something different on their show, and then people say, hey, I never saw that before. That's kind of cool. And they start to question what else is out there besides what they normally see on these shows. So, I mean, I think pushing that forward in that area is a great thing to do, because nobody wants to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, then
you would have to have a very large bank account to not sell a little bit, to just recoup and continue.
Yeah, because you got to buy parts.
To continue on.
You have to at least, sell something just so to recoup your money that you spent on parts.
Now, where do you sell them? Do you sell them online? Do you sell them on eBay, Amazon? Where can you get one of your boxes?
Occasionally, I'll throw stuff up on Facebook. Mostly, I've been doing it on my eBay store. It's been doing really well lately.
We do have a website that is waiting for attention.
Yeah, so it'll be up eventually. We'll have a store on there.
Yeah.
So HultayParanormal.com, and there'll be everything you need on there.
And you can, if you go there now, you can sign up to be notified when it's live.
Right.
Yeah, and you said you have an eBay store as well. Is there anything that people look for when they want to see that? Because I know quite a few investigators that really love these boxes, and I'm sure they want yours.
What's your username what's your store name?
Hultay Paranormal is the store name on eBay. So I'm trying to stick specifically with paranormal stuff, but I have sold a couple different things on there as well. Because I just started the store. I mean, I've been on eBay since the 90s.
Right.
Since they started. I just recently decided to make a store because their fees are astronomical. But when you have a store, I mean, you could do a listing for like 25 cents as opposed to like, $20. Yeah. It really is that much of a difference in price. So it's good we could put stuff up on there and get it out to the public that way, and you can get it out all over the world. With the reach is something that you can go all over the place.
Yeah, they can take care of the international shipping.
Right. They have global shipping, so I could sell to somebody in Ireland and during the with the global shipping program, and it'll get out there to Ireland. So it's good. It's a good reach for us to get out there in to different areas, because I want to see our stuff work all over the world, not just here in the United States.
That's awesome. And Katie, I do want to go back to what you'd said before. You started talking about your house.
Yeah.
What's going on in your house?
Steve grew up here. He might be the better person to ask. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's maybe like in spurts, and one thing that I think Steve and I should consider doing is creating a log, so we can see if certain, strange things happen during, certain time periods maybe, or during certain weather conditions. I have noticed and I could be wrong because everything's subjective when it comes to this sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
There are certain areas of the house where Steve and I can have a conversation, and I have learned to repeat, okay, you said this.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like there's something changing when we're talking to each other, but
Huh.
only in certain areas of the house. Like there's 2 areas that I can think of.
I grew up here, and I had all sorts of stuff, happen growing up. Lots of noises, kids crying. I mean, everything. I bought the house from my father back in like 2001, and so I've been here for 20 years by myself. Well, until Katie came here in 2015. But I think it doesn't help to have the ghost box running 24/7.
I was getting ready to say something.
And at one point,
Yeah, I figured that was going to be your next question.
Oh, I was going.
at one point we had 3 on our live. We had an app that we called Live Ghost Box Plus. That we had 3 live streams going all at once, and I think I'm sure it had nothing to do with it, but it was that car accident on our street. I was just like, you know what? Maybe it's just bad luck. We just kept having bad luck, and
And I don't know if that's the case or not,
yeah.
because it goes through the computer, so we're not actually hearing it. It's not like we
Right.
walk past the room
Oh.
and we could hear it.
I can tell you though,
It's plugged directly into the computer.
the day we killed the streams,
Yeah.
because we took a break before
Yeah.
we restarted this lone one that we have now. But the day that and it had been running for how many years? Like a while, like 3 at least,
At
maybe longer.
at least 3 years, if
At
no
least.
longer. Yeah.
So, but I personally felt like a pressure valve like being released. Like,
Yeah.
it was a very strange feeling.
Yeah,
It's hard to describe.
gives you like a heavy feeling, like a lot of times,
But when we turned it off, I just felt like I could, like the air was lighter.
So there may be something to it.
Do you
running,
think maybe like it's pulling spirits in, like you're creating like your own vortex in your home by having this, and you don't even know it?
I have a suspicion that could be the case. I don't think that anybody will ever be able to definitively say one way or the other. On the stream 2, which is using the same radio that is on our current live stream, it almost seemed as if there was a man with a deep voice that was in charge, and there was like a line of spirits and saying, okay, you next. And then sometimes he would get, kind of mean, nope, you be quiet, like if you just have that eavesdropping sort of, instead of trying to interact with them and just listen. I noticed that quite often. I noticed that sort of thing happening. How about you, Steve?
I haven't noticed that.
Oh.
Well, he will
I
now.
just know what it. Now I'm gonna look. I'm gonna pay attention to it a little bit more. But I think it's almost like leaving. Well, it is leaving a ghost box unattended. So if it is if it is dragging stuff in, almost like a Ouija board, it's coming in and going out, or coming in and staying in, or just going out and staying out. Who knows, what it's doing, because nobody else has done this before. So, you notice different things, different patterns. Weather affects everything. But yeah, I mean, it didn't kill us yet. So I guess we're okay for now.
Yeah.
I guess if that's
you did get a mechanical heart valve though, but I
did.
know that was,
yeah, that was going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
You
you can't really blame everything on the ghost box, but then
or ghosts in general. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now you said that the upstairs was an orphanage?
The attic.
The attic. How does that work?
Well, in this really old house that we have, it, my parents bought it from this family that owned the house for like I want to say 60 years roughly, and they took kids in and they put them in the attic, and it was, I've been in the attic in the summertime. It is incredibly hot, and in the wintertime it's incredibly cold. And apparently they took kids into his beds up there, because I cleaned out the attic many years ago, and there was a bunch of beds up there still. So they were living up there in the cold, in the heat. And apparently the woman, you know, she passed away in like 1970. I can only go by what I heard. I wasn't born until 73. So, you know, I don't know what happened before my parents bought the house, but apparently she was not nice to the kids at all. And there's nowhere to go up there. I mean, there's really
I've heard like movement.
Yeah, you could hear people walking up there still to this day. You could hear people walking in the attic.
Oh. How often do you go up there, or do we just say, you know what, honey, we're not going to the attic?
I'm not going up there until I get myself a hard hat.
Yeah,
The last time I was up there, I was cleaning.
The last person that put a roof on there, they put really long nails, and when you walk up there, you stick your head and you get stuck to the roof.
Yeah, I got knocked out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been one of my rules. Is I never, for my own peace, I never did an investigation where I was living.
Yeah, I did it in 2005. Was the first investigation one of the first investigations I did was on my house in 2005, and I have that on my website. It's old. It looks like an old Atari game. My website. It really does. It's so old.
Yeah, it's an 8-bit website.
Yeah, it's like an 8-bit website. It's SteveHultay.com, and you could go. It has tons it's got tons and tons of information on there. So if you're going there just to learn about stuff and get information, I mean, I got tons of files. I got tons of research on there, investigations I did back then.
You know, on how to hack certain boxes.
How to hack boxes, with pictures, descriptions on how to do stuff. I mean, it is a very good website. It does not look cool. It doesn't look anything new. It's old, but I still leave it up there because it has a lot of good information up there.
That's awesome. So when you make your new website, you need to have like a link for the 8-bit. The 8-bit site.
There will be the Steve Hultay Classic 8-bit.
Yeah, you can click on it and go over there. Yeah, unless
time warp to the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wow, yeah, it's been a long time since I had that.
Did I hurt you there?
I did. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
No, I was thinking when you guys were talking about the orphanage and the attic, it reminded me. There was also, maybe Steve can elaborate more on the fire that happened here.
Oh, wow.
There was a fire that happened here, and go ahead, Steve.
Well, there was a fire that happened here, and then they built another room. And then there was another fire. I think there was 2 fires.
Really?
And then the fire was in the dining room, which was the kitchen at the time. And they got enough money after the fire money came in or whatever. They were able to build an extension. So now it's the kitchen that we're sitting in right now. So the dining room, the original kitchen became a dining room, and now the extension is actually the kitchen now. But yeah. So I think that, I don't know, nobody died in the fire. So it's just that I think it's a.
Well, the reason why I brought it up was because, you know, when we were talking about the house and how I was saying that there are certain areas, and one is the staircase, and one winter, I think maybe it was the second winter I was here, I was walking down the stairs and I was talking pretty loudly to Steve, and, you know, I was going to tell him, let's put a fire in the fireplace. I didn't have a chance to get out the word fireplace, because our fire alarm went off the exact moment that I said fire.
Oh, I remember that, yeah. And that was the only reason why I found that significant, was because it was during a cluster of other weird, you know, things like hearing footsteps or you know. Right. Again, if we documented all the stuff, we would have a logbook saying, okay, it seems like every year on November, at certain time, this happens. Yeah. You know, almost like a stone recording, you know. Yeah. So you know, we can improve on our end for sure. But I did find that very interesting. The moment I said fire, I was trying to say fireplace, the fire, and it's never gone off since. That's because I took the batteries out. Oh, that's not safe. No, it's not safe.
That was going to be my next question too, as far as whether or not you thought that what was going on was more residual or intelligent.
I think at that point, I think we have a blend. of residual and intelligent, because there are times, like I believe I had a few psychics come in here, and they both said the same things. There was a portal in the basement, and there was a portal at the top of the stairs, like on the landing between floors. And they said it's almost like a train station. That's where they come and go constantly. So we're always getting a good blend. I think that's why we get such great stuff coming through on the ghost boxes here, because I think that they're constantly coming and going. As long as they don't hurt us or do anything drastic. I mean, we've had some nasty things come through over the years. I have, especially in the early times when I started doing this, I had some negative entities that just wouldn't leave, and I didn't know how to get rid of them. I mean, that's why I call people in.
I would say maybe it was 3 weeks ago, but you know, I so easily discount anything. If I find even a speck of like possibility, like, because a lot of times I'll like see stuff if I'm really tired, and so I say no, it's not real because I was really tired. You know,
right? So you got to chalk that up.
I could have swore I saw a almost 7 feet shadow at the end of our bed 3 weeks ago.
You didn't tell me that. I don't think you told me that.
Well,
surprise!
Now I'm going to be on the lookout for a 7 foot.
Yes. Hey, Steve, remember how you were going to sleep nice and calm tonight?
Yep. Nope. Not anymore.
Well, I mean, I remember, you know, seeing it, and I kept looking and trying to see, like, okay, is it some sort of cast from the window, you know, the street lights or something, and I was just so tired. I said, you know what, I'm probably just tired. In the past, when we've seen stuff in the past, we'll go and fire up a piece of one of our devices, just to, because it's important. If you hear something, see something that is possible paranormal going on, for the most part, we're not scared. We want to document it, so we grab a piece of device to see if at that time, when it's hot, it's a hotbed of paranormal activity. Allegedly, at that time, we want to see if we could capture something. So we use that. We're not afraid of anything. We want to actually try and document and use our equipment.
Now, how often do you think you see something in your house?
I would say, again, for me, it comes in spurts.
It does, and if we document it, I wonder if it would be the same around the same time or whatever. But I see stuff out of the corner of my eyes.
I have a logbook. We should use it.
We should, and I think that's how a lot of people see stuff is out of the corner of your eye. You'll see like a shadow or something like that moving around, like directly in front of me. I've actually had people sitting on the edge of my bed.
I've felt being touched.
Yes, and you could actually. I felt that we're sleeping at night, and this was even when I was by myself here. I would actually feel like somebody sit at the end of my bed, and you could actually feel it go down. Somebody actually like sitting at the edge of the bed. So, yeah, covers have moved. I mean, but it's nothing malevolent, except for this, one, which will go unnamed because I don't like the name. I don't like to call out on somebody that's not nice.
Understood.
So, but yeah, I mean, we've had stuff where, you get brushed up against cold spells, somebody sitting on the bed. I mean, stuff like that happens pretty regularly, but you kind of get used to it as long as they're not hurting you or doing anything bad for you or your family. I think it's okay. It's healthy to have them around. They like us being around. I like them being around. We don't bother each other really.
Now, when you see something, like, is it? And I asked this for everybody who I've had on that said that they've seen something. What does it look like? Does it look like a person sitting in front of you? Does it look like a shadow? Is it more of an impression?
Well, when I've seen somebody, I seen them almost like they were real. It almost looked like somebody broke into your house.
Oh, gosh.
Real. But my sister and my mother, growing up, they've seen apparitions in the bedroom, and it was kind of like a half of a person. And the way that we've decided why there was a half of a person, where that person was seen was in my parents built an extension on the house when they moved in back in the 70s.
Yep.
So they lowered the floor from the original. I mean, from the original floor, they raised it to do the extension. So the person that they saw, they may have been standing on the original floor. So that's why you only saw like the top half of the person.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So definitely residual.
Anyway. It's definitely residual.
See, for me, our current our dining room, I've seen like little tiny black things, but it's been more peripheral. I can't say that word. Peripheral.
Peripheral.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Peripheral.
And then I Google like medical reasons why you see black spots, or something. Maybe
trying to find a medical reason why you're seeing what you're seeing.
But as far as like in our bedroom, it's always been when the lights are out, so it's hard for me to see anything other than like a shadow type of thing. I have seen somebody with a red shirt in our living room.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're seeing color as well. It's not just all
I saw
black and gray tones.
it was like split second. So unless I see something for longer than
I've seen color as well.
Unless I see something longer than a couple of seconds, I just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not enough.
I mean, I've seen somebody sitting on the couch when I'm walking up the stairs, over years ago, and I kind of like, there's somebody sitting there. I go back down the stairs real quick and I take a look. There's nobody there, but I swear there's somebody sitting there on the couch.
And there's been times where Steve has been, what are you saying, Katie? What? And I'm like, I didn't say a single word.
Yeah, we hear phantom voices a lot, around here. Like I think she's talking to me, but it's not even her.
But it sounds like me.
But it sounds like her though.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about what that could be. I ain't even gonna say it.
No, don't say it.
Well,
now, I know we are cutting close to time. Steve, I do want to give you the opportunity to tell you about, or for you to tell us about a project you got working on.
We have several projects actually in the works. We're going to, of course, continue with the reverse stuff. She builds a box. It's a box that incorporates stuff that I did, stuff that she's doing as well. It's called the Forever Box, and basically it's a radio. It's a sweeping radio. It's AM, FM, and shortwave if we have shortwave to work with, if that's the radio tuner that we're using. And it's forward speech and also reverse speech. So it's kind of like a handheld version of our live.
Okay.
So that we're working on.
That one also has an option to do linear sweeps or random sweeps.
Right. So and it has all sorts of. It's got all the adjustments on there. You can speed it up. You can slow it down randomly or linear. Just so people know, it goes up the band and back down the band, and you can adjust the speed. Random is just random. It's just like it sounds. It's all over the place, and you could speed that up as well. You can make it faster, random, and it jumps all over the band, or you can make it slower. I had recently worked on an ultrasonic detector. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm still working on it. I got a prototype. I used a bat detector is what I used, and I modified it to try to maybe listen in on ultrasonic frequencies, because we haven't really tried that yet. So we're always trying stuff that may or may not work, but you got to try it, and that's how you do it. And Katie, tell them about your the phonetic devices that you're working on.
Well, I'm currently wrapping up a long-term project that I call Phoenix, and we've kind of discussed it a little bit earlier. But this one utilizes a high-end speech chip, so it's not going to be probably an affordable device. Unfortunately, I'm hoping that in the future, after this chip shortage fiasco calms down, that maybe prices will go down and all that. But I'm hoping I'm currently running a test right now, and if it passes the test, then I will start offering a couple units out there.
And this particular device is not words. There's no words in that at all either. and it's just phonetic sounds, but they're human sounds. They're more like a woman, a child, a man, like a kid. There's different sounds.
There's 9 built voices within this speech chip, but I was able to create over 400 variations based on those 9. So and that's, everything is completely random based on my whole, analog based random theory, or test, experiment, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully, an appropriate voice would be chosen for whatever message is being spoken. And I think I have, and I utilize different coding methods because I don't know what spirits use. So it's
all experimental at this point.
I completely I was overthinking this project, but it's a very comprehensive device.
Covered all the bases.
And I have one remaining bug that I'm testing, and once it passes, then we'll get it out there.
Now, I know you said that it was going to be more on the expensive end because of everything going on. In your testing, do you think you're going to put it online for folks to try out, to help with your testing?
We've done that
good idea.
a couple of times, and I think that we should. And then I was actually, thank you for bringing that up, Jordan. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Because I think
it would be good.
Yeah.
Because we have done that. We have run samples. But nothing.
We could just do a YouTube live stream and have people go and chat, ask questions, and
Yeah, and it seems like it works. It works completely different, than the Ghost Box.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be kind of interesting to see the one side of the world and onto the other side. It's different sides of the spectrum right now.
How it works in the field. Let me know when you have that going on, and we'll make sure to promote that, so that it could help with your testing as well. I think that would be cool.
Thank you. Phoenix works in utterances, so it's not like a continual. There will be a pause in between each section.
Right.
So.
And then, Steve, you also have a show coming up. You want to tell us about it?
I do. Yes. Me and Matthew Jackson, another ITC researcher in the field, we decided to get together, and we got a show called, it's going to be on YouTube, and it's called Ghost Rehab. So we're going to be starting that up on Sundays, I believe. Sunday the 14th. The 14th? Yeah. Sunday the 14th is going to be our first show. And I believe that we're going to do it probably every other week after that. Well, depending on how it goes. I mean, if it goes really well, we can try to keep it down to an hour. We're just going to talk about everything. I mean, I've done strictly Ghost Box. I've done strictly interviews over the course of the past 15 years. And I think this one's just going to be more of a fun thing. We're just going to lightly talk about everything that's going on in the paranormal, and have a few laughs. Hopefully people in the chat are going to have a few laughs as well. So I think it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a fun thing. I'm not looking to do anything serious to get out there, because I keep the serious stuff at home where we could actually work on the devices and stuff like that. This is going to be more lighthearted, about the paranormal.
And, Matt Jackson is a friend of ours too, here on the show, and he'll be coming in on January. I do want to ask, for the YouTube channel, is it going to be like a YouTube/Ghost Rehab, or are you going to keep it to Hultay Paranormal? Where will it be running?
On Hultay Paranormal.
It'll be on Hultay Paranormal, so on YouTube.
All right, so we got to make sure we keep out for that. Say that one more time. I talked over you.
If they want to subscribe to Hultay Paranormal, you'll know when the show's coming.
And then you have a Facebook presence. I want to make sure everybody who wants to get a hold of you can get a hold of you.
Sure. I'm Steve Hultay on Facebook and other social media platforms, and she's Katie Hultay. I don't know if you're on Instagram or anything like that.
Steve is much better at social media than myself. So, but I do, I'm trying to get better at it.
I still don't understand Twitter, though. I really don't.
I have a tendency to take breaks. So as far as Facebook Messenger is probably best to contact Steve, I would say.
But Hultay Paranormal on Facebook is a good spot also.
Yeah.
You can message us through that, and you can grab either one of us. If you grab my attention, you have a question for Katie, I'll make sure that I direct it towards her so she gets you the answer. And, other than that, just Steve Hultay or Katie Hultay, we have our own pages as well.
And I have one more question for you.
Sure.
Your 6th anniversary is coming up. When is it?
November 10th.
November 10th. Happy anniversary to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a big deal. Six years is a big deal. So congrats to you guys.
I'm thinking Taco Bell. What do you think?
Oh, come on, White Castle.
White Castle? Yeah.
Hey, y'all fancy. That's what.
Oh, the candle. Come on. I'm not heartless.
Hey, y'all are a blast. Thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for spending some time with me. I definitely want to have y'all back. I think this would be fun.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Yeah, anytime you want.
All right, I will see you guys later. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
You too.
Bye. And with that, the fire is out. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I really do appreciate you all. Make sure you check us out on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter now, at Fireside Parapod. That's Parapod. Facebook, our Facebook group is Fireside Paranormal Hub. Make sure you join it. Check us out. We have a lot of fun there. I've also been putting some things on YouTube and TikTok. Make sure you follow us. Go to firesideparanormal.com to check out all of our cool merch. And until next week, everybody, don't be afraid, only believe.